Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Inside the Kennel podcast. Boy, have we got a huge episode for you. We are on fire. But before anything else, I'm going to introduce this bloke, the Mayor of Footscray. They named a wing after him. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dougie Hawkins. And Dougie, we've got the retro round this weekend. Tell me all about it.
Geez, you're pumped up, Paul. He's Matty. He's on fire. He scared the crap out of me then, Paul. No, it's a Footscray retro round, isn't it? So tell me about that, Matty.
Yeah, well, how good is that, Doug? It's your era. We're back. So I think the Bulldog players are going to be wearing a slightly retro Guernsey with a nod to the 1954 Premiership team, but it's really all a celebration for all the past players. So we can't wait. And Doug, how good will it be on Friday night to hear the sound and the roar of Footscray, the chant going across Marvel? How marvellous will that be?
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic, isn't it, Paul, Matty? Yeah, the old Footscray rant and call, and I think it's a great idea just to go back for it. It was only the one round, Matty, Paul, isn't it? Only the one round.
Yeah.
And the boys wearing the Footscray old jumper that they are wearing it, the players.
Look, it's a slightly retro Guernsey, but they've got like the little 1954 insignia just under the breast.
Okay.
Exciting.
No, mate, I think it's fantastic.
Does the retro round draw any inspiration out of the players or the club? Does that help a team, do you reckon? Like going back and playing as Footscray and going back to the history?
I think this current playing group obviously are playing terrific footy, and they seem to be very, very well focused. And Bevo has made some very, very, very smart positional changes, which have really changed the whole structure of the team and the way they play. And we'll touch on it shortly. Obviously, about one or two of the players that have gone back and just taken their game to another level. But Paul, just to answer the question, I don't think it does a hell of a lot. But in saying that, in my day, it was nothing better to see the great Charlie Sutton, Teddy Whitten, Jack Collins, and these guys. Even probably played after them, the Stewie McGee's coming into the Gordon Casey and all Stephen, even though I played with Stephen Power. You know what I mean? To see these guys come in, Paul, Matty, was fantastic to see it. But it didn't drive me any more than I knew what I had to do and how I had to play. But it did give me a kick, particularly the ilks of Collins, Sutton, and Whitten. John Schultz, obviously, as well. Chuck him into that mix, 180%. He fits right into that. So to see those sort of great champions of our footy club coming in before a game and stuff like that, it did give you a buzz and a kick. Geez, I felt great when I saw them past champions come into the room. It was great because I knew all about them. And I don't know the current group know enough about the yesteryear. I don't know how the club's painted the picture for them or sold a story to them. But I knew all those Footscray blokes because I watched it. I watched it in the 70s and all that sort of stuff. So I grew up watching that era of our past champions. You just felt their Bulldog passion. You know what I mean? They walked in with that. They walked in with this aura, and this, not the fact that they demanded it. They had it. They had this thing about them that drew you to them. To love them and admire them and respect them and that's what they had. But they had that little bit of swagger, and they walked in and you go, oh, there's Teddy, there's Charlie and Johnny, and it was just it made you grow. It made you feel great. It certainly gave you a kick. Make no mistake about it, Matty. Paul, gave you a kick to watch these blokes come into rooms before a game. It was fantastic. But
I couldn't imagine a better week to having retro round though, Dougie. Where we're at, how we're flying, the positivity around the team. It's the perfect round, Matty, to have retro round, isn't it?
It is, Matty, isn't it? We owe Melbourne, Paul. We owe Melbourne a bit. Obviously, the 2000 and I think it was 21 premiership. After half time, they belted us, and there was an opportunity to win another flag, which slipped away from us. And they're playing for their lives, aren't they? Really, I mean, this is probably an 8-pointer. If that can be an 8-pointer for Melbourne, this is if they lose, they're just about knackered.
Also, the the hiding we got, Dougie, at the beginning of the year. That was very unpleasant. So lots of reasons to win, Matty.
Yeah, there is, Matty. So there's a lot of reasons, Paul, Matty, that we need to stick it right up Melbourne and put them out of the finals race. And if we do win, guess what? That will do it. That is just about poleaxe them. I think Luke Beveridge, boys, to be fair to say, is isn't it amazing? Like, as we spoke about this 4 or 5 weeks ago, his head was on the chopping block. Can you believe that?
And Dougie, you know what they're talking about now? They'll be talking about a contract extension. That's what they'll be talking about in the next couple of weeks, won't they? Let's get him for 5 years. That's what will be in the media.
Boys, he was gone, wasn't he? And when I say gone, there was people in and outside the club, I got no doubt, were thinking that, you know, he's been there a long period now, and that premiership was probably, 8 years ago now, 2016. He was on the skids, Bevo. He was on the skids. And here we are now. We're all talking. You're right, Paul, Matty, about this. The move of number 7 going back. Wow. Wow. I didn't quite see it. I always push for Norton to go back. But looking at Roy Lobb going back, you know what it's done, Matty and Paul, and I've played in this position. As a forward, you become a watcher, and you can become watching the game and not being involved. But let me tell you one thing. If you go to the back line, guess what? You're involved. You're alert. You're up and about. You're zigzagging. You're really ready to rock and roll. You're backing into packs. And we haven't seen Roy Lobb do a lot of that sort of stuff. But gee whiz, hadn't he been terrific? I thought in the weekend against Sydney, he might have taken 10 marks, intercepted marks. And then obviously with Jones coming back now, your spine going down the middle looks pretty good. Uganagel, Jamara was terrific. He kicked 4 or 5 goals as well.
Yep.
Norton probably, I don't know, he had a fair bit of the foot. He didn't kick many goals, but he looked so dangerous, Norton, didn't he? As well. Yeah. So, and the boy Darcy's been a little bit off, but it's another little tick for us.
Yeah, well, when you consider we only got 1 goal against the Swans out of Darcy, Waitman, and Norton. It bodes pretty well. 1 goal out of those 3. If they hit their straps, we could do anything, I would have thought.
I think it's also the rise of Riley West has become
correct
a problematic forward for the opposition. I feel at the moment, Matty and Doug, that the opposition have got so when they sit there for preparation for their games, they've got so many players they've got to talk about and cover. And I mean, I think Waitman's been relatively quiet and West has stood up. I mean, it's quite remarkable, Riley West's rise to prominence, hasn't it?
No, it has. Westy's been terrific, Paul. And I think Matty just reminded me when I made the assessment of our midfield, from the Bond into Libert to Trawl has an outstanding season. English, I thought, was very good in the weekend. And the one that I left out, Matty, but you reminded me, was the boy Richards, the left footer, red-headed kid.
Wow.
Mate. Wow. Carries the ball, kicks at 60. He doesn't muck around. Like he doesn't kick at 30 or 40 metres. He'll carry it 15, then bang at 60. A bit like a left footer we had McGuinness. Remember Tony McGuinness? He was a bit like that. Who can kick the ball long inside 50 and put that back line under pressure. And that gives Jamara and Norton, the likes of Darcy as well, that opportunity to be one-on-one, Matty, Paul. So you're right, Matty. The boy Richards, Ed Richards.
His ability, Doug, to manoeuvre around people is amazing as well. He does it so effortlessly, doesn't he? He just manoeuvres around and just kicks it long. I'll tell you what else, Dougie and Matty, English has really impressed me in the last, just his toughness. He's actually committing himself to the contest. And to me, that's made a really big difference.
Yeah, I reckon the one that really concerned me was, I think it was Jordan Sweet. Was that at Port Adelaide? How far back's that? That's... Yeah. I thought Sweet was pretty good, and we the bloke. He was at Footscray, one. He was at Western Bulldogs, and got rid of him. And I thought he played pretty well that day against English, and I reckon it might have just gave Tim English that bit of a shake-up. You know what I'm saying? I just reckon that maybe Bevo's pulled him aside on his own and said, you know what, you couldn't carry your bags in the gym. You shouldn't carry your bags in the gym, and we didn't feel he could, and he did. He actually played very well against you. Now here's your chance, son, now to step up. And I reckon since then. Yeah. Poor Matty, I think Timmings has been very good, particularly on the weekend. I thought he was outstanding. And just on that midfield, boys, we all talk about Bont and Libba, and Treloar's been outstanding, number one. He's had a terrific year, accumulates plenty of the footy. You know, at times he can be a little bit scrappy, but he's normally, his disposal of footy's pretty good. But I just feel that his season this year has been really good, particularly in the games where we needed someone to step up and lead outside of the Bont and Libba. He certainly has done it, Treloar. I think his season's been, and if you stop the best and fairest, he'd be second.
A few other players, Dougie, I want to mention to you, and I want your thoughts on it. Matty and I were talking about Caleb Daniels. He's back in the team. You know, Matty was really impressed with the fact he came on in the short amount of time and made a real impact with possessions and leadership. Do you feel he can remain in the team and have an impact for the rest of the season? And the other fella was Bramble. I wanted to just get your thoughts on.
Yeah, he's steady and he's pretty steady and reliable. Caleb Daniel, boys, I'm stumped. I am stumped. I haven't spoken to Bevo, and I'd love to. I'm a huge fan of Caleb Daniels, and I don't know where he's fell off the planet in the last 12 months, or how long it might be now. If he's not my best 18, I'm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more. And it's just really baffling that he's not there. But surely a position opens up for him. Is it? Can you see him playing on the wing? Is he a half back? Is he his own sort of worst enemy because he's so versatile that he hasn't probably locked down a spot? He kind of fills gaps, and he just hasn't owned one of them this year.
I just want to know why he's not playing him. I'd love Bevo to come out and say why he's not getting a game. I mean, he's had 30 each last 2 weeks in the reserves and getting plenty of the footy, and his kicking skills is as good as most of our players in our team.
Dougie, it must be the role playing. But Matty, if you talk about playing half back, so who's on the half back at the moment? Are they similar players? He obviously doesn't break the lines. He's quick over 5 meters. Where do you seriously think he can play? You got Polder on the wing. Where do you envisage him playing?
I think Paulie can play wing. There's no doubt he can play wing. He can still play half back. That's just me. And the other boy, the left footer, the boy McRae.
Yes.
He was out too last week, wasn't he? Did he play?
He was managed. So Bevo managed McRae, also Fraser, who's been really impressed me, and also Sanders. So those three lads came out, maybe because of the 5-day break, and perhaps we'll see them back very soon. But it's been a bit of a revolving door for some of our senior players that have been a lock for best on a part of a decade.
So Matty, Bevo's not scared to chuck him around, and that's what he's doing, and he's happy to do it. And we all know and we all agree that the side's playing good footy, with or without Caleb Daniel or McRae. They're still playing good footy, particularly the last 3 or 4 weeks they've been outstanding. And
what I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, there's been a weight lifted off Bontz's shoulders. I feel like the team's actually taking on some responsibility rather than levering it on Bonts. Have you guys seen that? And I feel like Bonts playing with more freedom, but I see the team taking more ownership.
Gee, Matty, Paul, that's a very good point, Paul, and that's a fair assessment. I think it's evenly spread now. We all know that the Bont, when we're down and the tails are wagging, he's 80%, 90% him, having to get us back into it. But now, because the workload's been shared, as by these names we have mentioned in that midfield, Paul, that's a very good point. How do you feel about that, Matty?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And the luxury that gives us is, if we put the responsibility in the hands of those other lads you've just mentioned, Bont can drift forward, and then he becomes such a danger up forward. And he can kick 2 or 3 goals and spark us in a different way. So it's just such a luxury, and I think. You mentioned Eddie Richards coming into the middle. He's sort of unlocked that in a lot of ways because he's just got that silky ability just to, drift onto the left foot and put it really deep. And Libba's the extractor in the middle. So, they've all got a point of difference. And, obviously Treloar's just got that composure element. So you can't shut them all down. And, it gives us that affordability to let Bont on the outside. I am absolutely loving what I'm seeing.
Yeah, good point, Paul. Very good point, mate. I think you're on the money there, and that you can see the pressure going away from the Bont. And it's not just him; it has to get us back into the game, and the players are now sharing that workload. And you're on the money, Paul. Good call.
And I also think that break, I think that mental and physical break he's having on the ground now is going to pay dividends in the finals when we really need him playing at his peak. But I also love seeing Karmas. I just love McNeil, Karmas, Garcia, all playing really good footy. And I think that's another, success breeds success, doesn't it?
It does. I like Garcia. He's a tough kid, isn't he?
Yeah.
Got a little bit of hardness about him. Got a few tricks. And the boy booked it down the back line. He goes good. He's grown with more games under his belt and regular game time, and he's been very good. But again, I'll just say that with Lob going back and the boy Jones coming back, their two intercept marking was super. Yeah. And the boy O'Donnell, he doesn't play. Is he still crooking? Is he crook?
Yeah, he had a concussion and then he had some hamstring tightness. So they're expecting him back this week. He's going to struggle
to get back. Yeah.
Does he come back in, Matty? What are your feelings on O'Donnell? Is there any room for him?
Well, isn't it amazing? Because Buku's just grabbed his opportunity, and you can't change a lineup that's performing that well down back. And I think O'Donnell now just has to bide his time and get back in line and keep working hard at Footscray. He's got the talent there. So what a brilliant problem to have, And then when you think about, we've got other players who'll be coming back by the likes of Harms. How do we squeeze him back in? JJ, at the start of finals, and Gallagher's there as well. So they're all knocking, they're all performing, and God help us if we go deep into the finals and Bailey Smith is up and about. I'm told quite reliably that he's 4 weeks away from resuming. Wow. So which would put him in line for the very start of finals time at Footscray.
This must be, refreshing to throw this on the table now, where he must be sitting back going, "Oh, geez, I tell you what, I want to be part of this."
Yeah, absolutely. Well, imagine, the how tantalising it must be for him to see the club playing so well, and just with this thing on the horizon, saying, "Do you know what? If I can come back and play for Footscray for a couple of weeks and we go really deep into September, maybe I'm a sneaky chance." And it could be one of those amazing fairy tales.
100%, Matty, 100%, Paul.
Look, boys, we should get on to our selection. Nostra Douglas, you ready to go, mate? All right, Melbourne, Dougie. Melbourne, this Friday night at Marvel Stadium, do we win?
Well, this is where English can take control. Max Gawn's still crook. I don't reckon he's right. I reckon he's got a crook leg. I reckon his leg's no good. And I just reckon that our midfield getting in control and on top of them early, this could be a wipeout game. If we play anywhere near where we're playing, look out, Melbourne. You're in huge trouble.
They do
but
look
they're just going. Yeah.
They do look at Dougie and Matty. They do look a bit all over the shop, don't they, Melbourne? They're not the same Melbourne from round one.
No.
They don't see anything's really working. The forward line, you said, the back. I mean, the back line are reasonably strong still, but it just doesn't seem the potent Melbourne team we're used to.
There's one play missing, boys. There's a gun for Melbourne. He's a gun. I don't care if you got your Oliver, you got Viney, Petrarca. He's a superstar. And I reckon Tristan Petrarca, with him not playing, I reckon there's huge pressure on Oliver. There's huge pressure on Viney to carry that extra workload. Petrarca, he's a star. He's a star, and he makes a difference to their team. He makes a difference to their midfield. He makes blokes stand taller around him. He's a huge loss, and he ain't playing. We win, and we owe him. We owe him plenty. It'll give me no much more joy to watch a skittle Melbourne. I've never, ever been a big fan of Melbourne over the years, and we owe them. This current group owe them as well. So, in the way we're playing, I find it like you can't pick Melbourne. You couldn't pick them, and I reckon we'll give them a bit of a touch-up, boys. So, they bring that game set we've had the last 2 or 3 weeks. We'll touch Melbourne up.
Love it. Give them a good Rod Grinter right to the jaw, Dougie. I love it.
We travel to Adelaide, Matty, I think. Is that right? Adelaide Oval to play Adelaide. Dougie, thoughts?
We normally play Adelaide pretty good, pretty okay. The Port Adelaide debacle was pretty ordinary. I thought it was one of our real bad performances over in general. So we owe that Adelaide Footy Oval a little bit of a payback too, and we'll get the Crows. Don't worry about that. Let's get them early, shop early, avoid the rush, as the great Charlie Sutton would say. Shop early, Dougie, avoid the rush. So we do that, we'll get Adelaide at Adelaide. They're a better side there, obviously, but we'll have too much hanging for that game to be afford to lose 4 points there. Another win. There's 2 in a row now, Paul, Matty.
Yeah. Okay, we come back. We fly back with another victory. We play North Melbourne. They're starting to grow, Matty. Sorry, Dougie, what do you think?
Yeah, they are, Paul. They're growing a bit, Matty. They're sort of hanging in for 2.5, 3 quarters of a game now. That's with youth. The young ones are going to do that. They're going to drop away as that game unfolds towards the end of the game. I just think we'll be just too good for them over in general, all over the ground. I just think we'll be just too much to play for. Got too much hanging now. Just to be 3 in a row. You know what, Paul? You know what, Matty? This is 216 revisited. I'm telling you now, this competition's real even. Yeah. And the Dogs finish 7th or 8th. You wouldn't want to be playing them. I'm telling you right now, if the Dogs come from 7 or 8th, you don't want to be playing them because this is 2016 revisited. I got this gut feeling about this group, very similar to the 216 setup, coming into that final series. And I think this competition's real even on a given day. You're off a little bit, you're going to get skittled. So watch out for the Doggies. They get in and they get that little bit of a sniff. Right in the hunt, boys. So we got that win the last 3. How many more games ago, Paul?
Okay, Dougie, listen to this. Our old nemesis, GWS in Ballarat.
In Ballarat?
In Ballarat.
You're -3.
And rain.
And raining. Welcome to the wet track, GWS. Toby Green and his gang. I think they're a good side. I think they're a good side, Matty. Paul, I really do rate GWS pretty highly. I think they're a very evenly spread side, and Ballarat would be a nice place to get them. And again, by that stage, we've really got so much we need to do and win again. So, again, here we are. We're tipping. Well, I'm tipping 4 now. I'm tipping 4 out of 4.
Wow.
4 out of 4. We'll win that. We'll win that. We'll beat them at Ballarat.
Right. Done.
So, Dougie, what you're saying is we win 4. We're in the top 4. We got a double chance. That gives us an enormous sniff.
And that's gettable, Paul. And that's Matty. That's not being stupid. That's not me being real. Just me rose-coloured glasses, red, white, and blue. That's just the way the boys are playing and the opposition that we got and where we got them. There's no reason why this group can't win the next 4. There's no reason whatsoever the way they're playing their footy. So if there's going to be a hiccup, there could be one, but I couldn't tell you who it's going to be because they're playing so good, the boys.
Hey, Dougie, I just want to set a scene. You're at one of your sportsman's night, and one of the people in the crowd say, Dougie, why is the comp so even? What do you say to them? Why is the comp so even?
I just think the teams are pretty even, Paul. I think they're pretty even. They got their 1 or 2 real great players, and then they got 4 or 5, second tee sort of type players, and they've got 6 or 7 real good kids in the middle, and then their bottom 6 or 7 are okay. I think we're all pretty even. All those those top sides, but again, we talked about North Melbourne. Look, they're a side that can sneak up and win a game and catch a napping. If we go in there, 2 cock a hoot against the Kangaroos, they can grab you and hang around a bit longer than we hope them to hang around, if you know what I mean. So we need to be up and about.
And I guess is what the AFL love, don't they? This is probably what they want. They don't want tails of 2. They don't want an upper and lower class. They want everyone in there, everyone having a crack. Brings people to the footy because their teams are going to hope of making the finals, Matty.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, it's music to my ears, Dougie, to hear you say that. And you know what? If we win 4 on the trot, that's 7 in a row to end the season. And then who knows what lies ahead. But you've got every listener absolutely on the edge of their seats excited.
and rightly so, because these boys are playing real good footy and there's a brand of 216 about it. And Bevo's coaching like it's 216. He's coaching brilliantly. So look out. Wow. Look out the rest of the competition because this group of boys are coming. They are coming. Give
him a 5-year contract, Dougie.
Well, maybe not yet, Paul, but let's give him a 10-year extension. He wins it again, we'll get another 10. Yeah, beautiful, mate.
Fantastic, Dougie. What a great episode of Inside
Matty.
the Kennel. Going to get everyone excited. See you, buddy. See you, Matty.
Thanks, Dougie. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, mate. See
Hey,
you,
dogs.
boys.
See you, mate.
Red in my heart, white in my veins, blue in my eye, red, white, and blue in my brain. I'm Bulldog born.